Monday, June 9th. This is the Lion Channel. I'm John. Day 39 of my manifesting journey, and I'm starting to realize what is happening to me, okay, with falling asleep in the wish fulfilled, changing my self concept, and becoming the person I love. What is happening is, and I keep saying, like, I'm not the person that I was a couple months ago. It feels weird talking about that person because it feels so foreign to me because it was a completely different state of consciousness. And that's what it all comes down to is you cannot act outside of your state of consciousness. So whatever you're falling asleep with, and most people are just doing this, just arbitrarily, just kind of like they don't know any better. Okay, I didn't know any better. I was on this earth for almost 48 years, and 2.5 months ago I didn't know any better. So unless you come across this information and are open to it and then start applying it, you will not know this information. And so your life will basically just kind of stay the same it's always been. Now, if you've had a great life, then, that's perfectly fine. But if you were like me, where it's just like the more you try and you can be more, and the more you try, things just keep getting worse. It can be a hell on earth is basically like what it comes down to internally. Maybe your external world doesn't look that way, if people are looking at you from outside of you, but from your perspective, it becomes a hell on earth. And so when you're able to come from a place of love, as I talked about yesterday, and it all starts from that place, what happens is you're loving yourself first. So previously, 2.5 months ago, when I wasn't loving myself, when I would have these encounters with quote unquote people that I wasn't really looking forward to, because I didn't love myself, I was already thinking about what they may be thinking about me, or what they may be thinking about knowing that they have to see me. And at that point, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm creating my reality to match that. And so my insecurities just feed into how they are probably already feeling about me. And it just becomes a vicious circle of negativity. But when I and you, us, we can come from a place of love, then we don't even have those thoughts. We don't even have access to those kinds of thoughts, which is why it feels so weird to talk about, because now I love myself. And so I'm coming from a place of love. And when I talk about this stuff, it feels like I'm talking about somebody else. But when you come from a place of love and you love yourself, you're not thinking about what anyone else is thinking about you. What you're thinking about and where your focus goes is to just loving everything around you, regardless of how they feel. So even if somebody was thinking those thoughts, which I'm sure in the beginning, when I was seeing, going through this transformation, now people are getting used to the new me. So it's like they're now expecting a different energy from me. But initially, they may have been thinking those same thoughts. Oh, I have to see John, or John's going to be thinking this, and they're thinking these things about me. But then when I'm able to suddenly come from a place of love and I'm giving them hugs, even though they're sticking their hand out for a handshake, how do you think that makes them feel? They're like, whoa, what is going on here? It changes them internally because everybody wants love. Even though I was that person, as I talked about before, where people would come to hug me and I would be closed off inside, as bad as I felt when I got a hug from somebody or when somebody showed me love, it still felt good. Even if it was somebody I didn't want a hug from, even if it was one of those people that I was looking at negatively, when they came in and gave me a hug, it felt good. And it did something to me. It like changed the chemistry between me and that person, especially if it was the first time they had ever hugged me. It could completely transform a relationship. I'm only noticing and realizing this now. So what you're seeing here, you're not seeing a person, okay? This is, and I said this when my wife and I went out for a walk on Thursday night. I was like, I'm a rising state of consciousness. It's rising consciousness is how I feel. Because every night I'm falling asleep in the wish fulfilled. I'm loving myself. And so my life just continuously gets better and better. And now I'm like making videos and I'm watching these videos back and I'm like, wow, this is like, it's amazing stuff. Because to me, I couldn't have made these videos a couple months ago. I couldn't have made some of these videos a month ago. It's just like some things that these new thoughts that I have access to are brand new to me. So when I watch this stuff, when I watch these videos back, it's watching something that I've never seen before from myself. And I'm not trying, it's effortless. It's like I have access to new consciousness. So this is, if you continue watching these videos, you're just going to see, forget about me, the person. You're watching rising consciousness. Like these videos are just going to get better and better and better. And I'm going to continue gaining access to new information and new thoughts and be able to convey these messages better and better and better and make them more and more powerful. That's what's happening, and it's going to continue. All right, so I wanted to talk about that, and then I also wanted to talk about a glitch that happened last week. Our house that we moved into here like a year and a half ago. And unbeknownst to us, I guess we should have checked this, we have propane gas here. And so when you have propane gas, if you're familiar with it, it's a whole separate animal. Okay, we were used to, just paying the electric bill, paying the electric company, and as long as you do that, everything's fine. But with propane gas, if you don't fill your tank up in time before the gas runs out, you have no heat and you have no hot water. Okay, so and it is, the cost is a lot higher than your electric. Okay, so in the beginning, it was an adjustment, and I was supposed to be out there checking the propane tank. I already talked about my state of mind, so a couple times we ran out, it made things uncomfortable. But what I did notice on a few of the times that we wound up running out, my daughter and I would be out front waiting for her school bus, and we would see the propane truck drive by. And I would say to her, I haven't checked the propane in a while. I should probably go check it. But again, the state of mind that I was in, how I was feeling, I didn't follow through on that glitch on that sign. And I didn't really know any better anyway. And so once or twice, seeing that propane truck drive by, it drives by maybe once a month, maybe once every couple months. But it seemed like every time it drove by, it was a sign from the universe to check the propane tank, and I didn't do it. And so we ran out, made life uncomfortable. But last week, we hadn't seen the propane truck in a while. Okay. We hear what sounded like her school bus. My daughter and I were talking. I was facing away from the street, and it sounded like her school bus was coming, the brakes, the way the truck was braking. And so I looked and I saw it wasn't her school bus. And so I turned back around and started talking to her. And she said, "Dad, didn't that sound like my school bus?" And I said, "Yeah." And so I turned around just to see the truck that was driving by, and it was the propane truck. Okay. And so I said to her, kind of jokingly, because it's the springtime, it's the summertime, and you don't use much propane in the summertime. It's just for hot water, but in the heat you can go through it a lot faster. But I hadn't checked it in a while, so I said jokingly to her, I said, "I guess it's time to check the propane tank." Obviously, you know what happens. I go over to the propane tank, I check the tank, and it's as close to being empty as it can be without being empty. So I got on the phone, I called the propane company. They were able to come out an hour or two later, fill the tank, no harm, no foul. Okay, so this is a glitch. This is a simulation, okay? It's a simulation because everything that you experience first happens in your imagination. All right, whether you dream about it or whether you thought about it, but if you're experiencing something that you're like, "Well, I didn't think about this," you were unconscious. That's because you were unconscious, and most people are unconscious. Okay, even me practicing this, like I'm not present 24/7. There are times where I'm in my in my thoughts, and it's just part of it. All right, but everything that happens in your 3D world, in your external world, first happened in the real world, which is your imagination. Everything else is an illusion. All right, so that's it for today. My daughter just got home. Do you want to say hi? All right, that's Peyton. She's going to be the next American Idol star. I guess she's 9, but when she's 15, I guess she will be able to join American Idol. I'm not even sure. I was looking at the camera there, but yeah. So that's her. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night. I don't know if
they can hear me.
Bye.
Can they hear me?
Yeah, I think so. All right, say bye.
Bye.
Bye.